The Englishman's wife steps up to the tea, and as she bends over to place her ball, a gust of wind blows her skirt up and reveals her lack of underwear. "Good God, woman, why aren't you wearing any knickers?" her husband demanded. "Well, you don't give me enough housekeeping money to afford any." The Englishman immediately reaches into his pocket and says, "For the sake of decency, here's £30. Go and buy yourself some underwear." Next, the Irishman's wife bends over to set her ball on the tea. Her skirt also blows up to show that she is wearing no undies. "Blessed Virgin Mary, woman, you've no knickers, why not?" She replies, "I can't afford any on the money you give me." He reaches into his pocket and says, "For the sake of decency, here's £20. Go and buy yourself some underwear." Lastly, the Scotsman's wife bends over. The wind also takes her skirt over her head to reveal that she too is naked under it. "Sweet mother of Jesus, Aggie, where the frig are your drawers?" She too explains, "You didn't give me enough money to be able to afford any." The Scotsman reaches into his pocket and says, "Well, for the love of Jesus and the sake of decency, here's a comb. Tidy yourself up a bit." Every single year, like clockwork, Walter would escort his dear wife Ethel to the bustling state fair. This annual tradition was something they both anticipated with excitement. As they meandered through the fairgrounds, Walter would always halt in front of the helicopter rides and turn to Ethel, the desire apparent in his eyes, and say, "Ethel, you know that I'd love to go for a ride in that helicopter." Ethel, ever the pragmatic one, would respond in her calm, matter-of-fact tone, "I know, Walter, but that helicopter ride is $50, and $50 is $50. One year, as they were immersed in the lively ambiance of the fair, Walter, now an old man of 87 years, turned to Ethel and reiterated his long-standing wish. He said to her, "Ethel, you know I'm 87 years old now. If I don't ride that helicopter this year, I may never get another chance." Ethel, consistent as always, retarded, "Walter, you know that helicopter is 50, and $50 is $50. During this exchange, their voices carried over to the ears of the helicopter pilot. Intrigued by the couple's conversation, he decided to intervene. He approached the couple and offered, "Listen, folks, I'll make a deal with you. I'll take both of you for a ride. If you can both stay quiet for the entire ride and not say a word, I won't charge you." He added a clause. "But if you say just one word, it's $50. Walter and Ethel, after a moment of consideration, agreed to the pilot's challenge. Consequently, they found themselves buckled up in the helicopter, ready for an adventure. As the helicopter ascended into the clear blue sky, the pilot demonstrated an array of impressive tricks and maneuvers. However, not a single word escaped from either Walter or Ethel. The pilot, determined to win, repeated his death-defying tricks over and over again, yet the couple remained silent, determined not to lose the bet. Finally, as the helicopter landed back onto the ground, the pilot, visibly impressed, turned to Walter and exclaimed, "Wow, I've got to hand it to you. I did everything I could to get you to scream or shout out, but you didn't. I'm really impressed." Walter, with a twinkle in his eye, responded, "Well, to be honest, I almost said something when Ethel fell out, but you know $50 is $50. The flight, unfortunately, had not been provisioned with sufficient meals for all its passengers. Having been airborne for a mere half an hour on an outbound evening flight, the lead flight attendant of the cabin crew, with a look of discomfort and apprehension on her face, reluctantly made the following regrettable announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm deeply sorry to inform you, but it seems that a significant last-minute error has been made by our airport's catering services. I'm at a loss as how such a thing to have occurred, but we currently have 103 passengers on board, and to our dismay, we've been supplied with only 40 dinner meals. I sincerely apologize for this oversight and the inconvenience it will undoubtedly cause. As the crumbling and murmuring among the passengers subsided, she continued her announcement. If there is anyone generous enough to forego their meals so that another passenger may eat, we will express our gratitude by offering free, unlimited drinks, whether alcoholic or non-alcoholic, for the duration of our flight. Her next announcement arrived a full 90 minutes later. If anyone is open to the idea of changing their choice, we still have 40 dinner meals available. 3 dogs end up in the vets and start talking to each other. "Oh well," sighs the first. "This is it. They're going to put me down for worrying sheep." "They're putting me down as well," says the second dog. "I bit the postman." The 2 dogs turn to the third dog, a big Alsatian, and ask him why he is there. "Well, it happened a couple of days ago. My beautiful blonde owner got out of the bath, bent down to dry her feet, and I couldn't help myself. In a flash, I mounted her and went quite wild." "I see," reply the other dogs. "So you're being put down as well." "Oh no, I'm here to have my nails cut." A solitary man is kneeling in the serene stillness of a grand old church. He looks up towards the ornate stained glass window portraying the heavens and speaks quietly, "God, could you grant me the favor of answering a question that lingers in my mind?" "Of course, my dear son," comes the gentle, omnipotent voice of God. "What is it that you wish to understand?" The man, feeling a sense of calm and reassurance from the divine response, asks, "God, could you please explain to me what 1,000,000 years feels like to you?" "Well," replies God, with infinite patience, "to me, in the grand scheme of the universe, 1,000,000 years is as fleeting as a single second." The man ponders over this response, eventually nodding slowly as he says, I suppose that makes sense, given your eternal existence." Feeling involved, he continues, "So in that context, what does a sum of $1,000,000 represent to you?" God responds with fatherly wisdom, "My beloved son, to me, $1,000,000 is as insignificant as a single penny." Muses the man, taking in this new perspective. He goes back to his reverential kneeling position, praying silently as he contemplates the divine discourse. After a few moments of peaceful silence, the man once again raises his eyes to the high heavens. "God," he ventures, "might I ask you for a penny?" "Sure," God replies with a divine smile. "Just a second." A little old lady answered a knock on the door one day, only to be confronted by a well-dressed young man carrying a vacuum cleaner. "Good morning," said the young man. "If I could take a couple of minutes of your time, I would like to demonstrate the very latest in high-powered vacuum cleaners." "Go away," said the old lady. "I haven't got any money." And she proceeded to close the door. Quick as a flash, the young man wedged his foot in the door and pushed it wide open. "Don't be too hasty," he said, "not until you have at least seen my demonstration." And with that, he emptied a bucket of horse shit onto her hallway carpet. "If this vacuum cleaner does not remove all trace of this horse shit from your carpet, madam, I will personally eat the remainder." "Well," she said, "I hope you've got a good appetite, because the electricity was cut off this morning." My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.